So now, just let's continue our sessions to the third native speakers. I mean, our speakers, yeah? This from local speakers. Okay? Okay, Mr. Rudy Salam Sinulinga as our as an English teacher, lecturer, and translator, trainer from Indonesia. Okay, Mr. Rudy Salam Sinulinga. Okay, how are you, Mister? How are you today?
I'm fine. I have just taught bilingual
Okay.
teachers preparations at one of the junior high schools.
Oh,
That is why I came late because the program
oh my
was done at
goodness. Okay,
1 o'clock.
is it
Yeah,
okay?
yes.
Is it
So that
okay,
is why
Mister?
I couldn't join early because I had some activities with the teachers at junior high school in Bandar Baru. Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. David. Yeah, thanks for accepting our invitations, and then also to Miss Laura and Miss Laura and Miss Arania from Greece. As an extra information or extra explanations about the bilingual educations, I will post also the same topic with previous materials presented by Miss Laura and then Mr. David from Thailand. I like Thailand very much. Yeah, I have visited Thailand more times, but during this COVID-19 pandemic, it's very hard for us to go across the nations. Um, what's the bilingual educations? We can see that a bilingual education is a program of instruction that use the students' language as a tool of instruction while they are begin learning as a second language. We know that in Indonesia, English is still a foreign language. It's very different than Singapore and Malaysia, India and Philippines. That's why our government gives the best curriculum how to accommodate all the needs of the students, especially for the schools. Um, I know that a few years ago, some schools in Medan, especially for the private schools, had applied bilingual system, but that failed because of what? Because there were some factors that made a program couldn't run well. I think there will be some explanation that can be explained by the governments, by the principals, and many more, especially by the teachers. And what is bilingual education as an extra information? In addition to teaching students subject matter in Spanish, provide English as a second language ESL teaching methods. In Bahasa Indonesia also, in our country, there are some publishers already print out the textbook by using English and Bahasa Indonesia. So above is in Bahasa Indonesia, and then under the language is in English. So the problem is how to implement, because before doing the bilingual system, the first one is by preparing the teachers. For example, my experience to handle the bilingual teachers preparations in Medan generally, that since 2006, I have trained many teachers how to apply bilingual system. So the schools can run well about this program. So I think this is our principle and then our biggest effort how to realize this program, because there must be good cooperation between among the teachers, the principals, parents, students, many more. They learn about the history and culture, the ancestor, as well as the unit of the states. Yeah, this, for example, the applications of the bilingual system in Spanish. How about in Indonesia? Because I'm as an English trainer, I think, there are many problems faced by us about the culture. If we talk about English in the school, especially out the city, to talk in Bahasa Indonesia also is very hard for them. So the teachers tries to explain the matter by using other language, how to use English as a second language or maybe foreign language. That is the problem. So as a main objective of the bilingual education, the main objective of bilingual education is to help um, the students or language learners to achieve success. So if they can't speak, because the essence of the bilingual system is communication. If they are not able to communicate by using English, it's impossible for us to apply bilingual system. But in the classroom, as I know, according to my experience, by seeing the situation in the school, that uh, they only use the bilingual. Sometimes they can use English and sometimes mix into Bahasa Indonesia. That is the reality. But for the grade, maybe at 3, 4, 5, and etc., they can speak English well, or maybe by using full English. And what are the goals of bilingual education? Learning English is one of the primary goals of bilingual education. I give my observation, Mr. David, in our country especially, yeah, since they learn English from the kindergarten 1 year, okay, primary level 6 years, and then junior high school 3 years, and senior high school 3 years. It means they must take time at least 13 years to learn English. But the goal and the goal of the learning, couldn't run well because of what? There are many factors because our government tries to give how to pass the curriculum, not to make the students can be able to speak English well. So the teachers try to make to pass or maybe to teach all the materials based on the curriculum applied by our governments, not to make the students be able to speak English well. That's the problem as I see. Even though that student must be able to pass 30 years to learn English, but there is no good result. Even also for students that continue to the S1 program or university level, even the one students already learned 4 years at the college level, but they are not able to speak English well. That is the problem. I don't know where's the problem, but as I know that our government tried to design the curriculum not to make all the people, all the students, how to be able to speak English well, but how to know how to memorize, how to know the text. So in the simple ways for training program in the school, I try to make all the teachers must be able to speak English well in the communication system and the teaching learning and many more. So that is our effort try to accommodate by making the bilingual system in our school. And the other goal of bilingual education also like ensure access to comprehensible instruction of the native language. In our city, if the schools are not able to innovate, so all the students will leave to the beverage school. That is why, as one of the best private elementary schools, Saint Antonius primary schools, as a Catholic school, this is one of the best primary school in Medan. Because they are going to innovate. Because there is no innovation, there is no result. That is our principle. And how to provide access to content area instruction in the native language, teach English by using English as a second language instruction is very different than Malaysia, Singapore, and many more. Indonesia still makes that English is a foreign language. So there are many problems, especially about the language policy made by our governments. Different politicians, different system of government, different curriculum. As the politics already generally affects all the curriculums in our country. Like I said before, from the Catholic curriculum and then 2030 curriculum, nowadays there are also prototype curriculum and next 2021 curriculum. I don't know what is the result. The curriculum has been changed more and more times. So I don't know, especially we talk about English, there is no good efforts from our government, only gives 2 hours in a week for elementary schools and junior high school 3 lessons in a week. So that is our effort how to make the bilingual system can run well. And who is served for bilingual system? Students who are limited English proficient. Of course that if the students are not able to speak English well, they must be able to learn more English. That's the effort from the school how to facilitate by giving the course, by joining the English course, many more. And how is eligibility determined? Federal guidelines require that school districts have procedure in place that have students who can benefit from a bilingual program. Now, for example, in our schools, especially because I'm next to the schools that have been trained by me for junior high school level, and maybe in the end of March also, Mr. Rabi, we are going to collaborate also to conduct bilingual international webinar. That when a student enrolls in a text public school, parents are asked to identify. So in this school, because I'm next to the schools, I'm at AFC, because after teaching, after conducting the training, that our schools try to apply 2 choices. The first one by making the regular rules, and the second one by making or by applying in the bilingual system. So the parents who are going to enroll their sons or maybe their child to go to the junior high school, there will be 2 choices to the regular school, regular class, and also bilingual system. So the teachers or the officers try to explain about the program, which language the child learn first. In this Medan, there are many languages: Mandarin, Cantonese, Malayu, Javanese, many more. So how to make that in Medan, especially or generally, there are many local languages, Mr. David, not only the Bahasa Indonesia, but from the mother tongue. And how is eligibility determined? As a continuous, parents that answer the question by naming language other than English are identified for further testing. Students are first given in a test in English. According to the curriculum that I have seen in our country, the students are forced to memorize. Okay, they know the name of the word, the day of the day, they know the name of the object. That is very hard for them to speak up. The teachers always force them how to understand what about the tenses, not to force them how to have braveness to speak up. So sometimes the students are able to memorize the formula of the tenses, but they have no braveness how to speak English. Yeah, it's very different with the Thai people and then Singapore English. Like we say, like we know that Singapore English by mixing Chinese accent and English, Amiala, Waterla, and then also for Thai language, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dongmen Airport. That's the accents of Thai English. Because I'm often go to, yes, that is right, Mr. David. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dongmen Airport, Rosa. Yeah, because that is the situation, the culture cannot be separated with English. Yeah, Mr. David, that was loving. Okay, next, how is eligibility determined? Students who have difficulty in understanding and speaking English. So, as the responsibility of the schools that wants to apply bilingual system, the first one makes all the people in the area of school be able to speak English well. Maybe every language has the rules, has the system, but let's invite them to be able to speak English well, not to know more every rules of the language, but they are not able to speak English. If I ask my students, what is the formula of present simple? Okay, she knows the formula, but it's very hard for him or her to speak English well by making the formula of grammar tenses to be able to speak English well. And how to, when a student ready to access the bilingual program, development of students oral language level of proficiency skills. Now, scores in English achievement test, 40% in both English language arts and reading is required. I have joined an international webinar hosted by Oxford University Press. That the most important for students, especially related to the skills, is from the reading comprehension. From the reading comprehension, the students can retell the story, can write down many more. So that is our effort to facilitate this program. Why do we need bilingual education? We need the students who are ready to read and do in their strong primary language Spanish. In Indonesia also, the quality of the reading comprehension is very low. But they like to read all the posts on the social media, but they are not able how to read the books or the textbooks. It's very hard for Indonesian people, especially the students, to read one book for 1 week. That is the problem. If I'm talking about the books with Indonesian subtitle, but for English especially, it's very hard for them to understand because there is no good understanding, there's no comprehension for English textbook without having good English vocabularies. Why do we need bilingual education? Students do not have to sit class waiting to learn English while to be learning our instruction. So at the Santo Antonius 1 and 2 primary school, I have seen that this is the third year they apply the bilingual system. As I know, there is a real or the significant process, significant result that every teacher can be able to teach the material related to teach the subject by using English, especially by applying bilingual system. I have seen the situation that we have the progress. Many of the reading skills learned in the native language will transfer to the second language. As you know, English is a global language as an international skills that I have forced that English is a must nowadays. This is not a choice, but this is a must. Even though we have many skills, but if we have less skills in English, we will have the problem. It's very hard for us to build the network. During this COVID-19 pandemic, I can collaborate with David Medan, even though we never made it before, right? But later on, maybe hopefully after this COVID-19 pandemic, there will be good cooperation or maybe more cooperations after this one. And about bilingual class also for academic progress, research has shown that it takes 4 to 7 years to acquire cognitive academic language proficiency in the second language. This is from the data. But about the data that I took from Indonesia, even though they have been learning English for 20 years, it's very hard for them to speak English well. Because of what? They are afraid to speak English. They have less ability in mastering of English grammar anymore. A research on academic achievement, federal government, English immersion and LX program are have strong primary language development helps in this learn English. And this is from the research that the reading comprehension is one of the skills that mastered by the student on the teacher. There is no reading comprehension well, there is no good speaking English. Research on academic achievement, school-related tasks require a fairly sophisticated grasp of language. The students who are highly proficient to language appear to have academic advanced monolingual students. Based on myself, I have I have learned more than 5 local languages in our country. So until now, I can speak at least 6 or maybe 7 languages. With local languages, Bahasa Indonesia, and then English. So we try to make this one by practicing. So what is the program? Program of instruction. The implementation of the program of instruction addresses 3 specific areas: how it will be teach English, how it will teach the content area, and then how the subject will be have to be, he or she does not behind her assigned a grade level. So the 3 aspects can be applied by the sisters, by the teachers, by the students in realizing bilingual system in the school. And bilingual education model. The first one you can see always upper transitional OR development cases, early transitional, and many more. So every teacher tried to choose which one is the best for them, how to apply the bilingual system by knowing those aspects. And transitional bilingual education uses students' native language in teaching subjects. In Indonesia, the native language is not English, but sometimes Mandarin, Cantonese, Javanese, many more. So how to facilitate them to have bilingual or maybe English as the tool of the communication in the class or maybe in the school. The main emphasis of transitional bilingual education program is to enable all the students how to understand English, proficiency on students to become competent. But it's very hard for me to say that speaking English sometimes is very hard, sometimes it's very easy. It depends on the people how to learn English well. So we are we must be able to keep learning, especially English. Immersion bilingual programs. Immersion education is defined as using the standard approved by school curriculum. And in my country, to test the ability or maybe the proficiency of the students, personnel, we will join maybe TOEFL test, IELTS test, many more. There are many kinds of the English test provided by the private institutions or by our government. So the function is how to measure of the ability of the students or the people to know more how to master English. And then immersion bilingual programs, they are bilingual programs because of the following characteristics. You can see the slides. The teacher is bilingual, though the lesson is delivered in language. So sometimes, for example, how are you? And then the answer from the student, kami baik-baik, ma'am. Thank you. And then Thai students say, kamun kap. For example. Students usually receive language arts instruction in their primary level. So based on the research that I have read before, that the best age to learn English starting from the kindergarten or the primary level, because if they are going to the junior high school and then senior high school, it's very hard for them to understand. So I have many friends that they try to make the habit to speak English well since the baby in the early age, for example, 3 years, 4 years. So they make English as a communication at home for this first time. Immersion program like others work best when their emphasis is addictive. And two-way bilingual immersion program, you can pick one or you can see two-way bilingual immersion programs, also known as a dual language program. And two-way immersion programs can be used by language minority and language majority students, providing instruction in both English language or the language minority students. In the school, sometimes there are some students can be able to speak English well, and then there are some students who have not ability in speaking English well. So how to combine this one? This is the responsibility of the teachers at the school. And developmental bilingual program, developmental bilingual education, also known as a late exit program, proposed that the school, the program throughout elementary school, they continue to receive 40 or more, maybe half percent first language, even when they have been tests of as English proficiency. So from the primary level, the students are able to test their English proficiency. I have a private students that learns at the one of the good private schools, and then he went to Singapore and then learned for senior high school level in Singapore because the student has good English. If I give him task for TOEFL ITP and the score is almost 500, the total score of the TOEFL ITP. So he was accepted at the one of the best senior high school in Singapore. The English Plus movement began as a political move to guarantee freedom for discrimination based on language. So if we have a language policy, bilingual system can run well. But because bilingual system is not planned, is not organized by the government, so every school tries to make the best service by modifying, by innovating many more. So about schools in our countries, we see that we try to make the quality for every school. We try to promote what programs do we have, what programs will we do in the future. So this is our benefits. Try to promote our school as one of the best school in our area. And the English Plus movement also, proponents of the English Plus throughout this time of education could be beneficial employment and create more cultural awareness. So since the students are from the primary level, they will be successful if they have passed maybe senior high school and then college level or university because they have had good English. I think that's all for my presentations. If you have any questions, you can ask to our moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Rudy Sinulinga, for present your presentation. That's a good presentation. So now let's back to our next session, that is question and answer session. So if you have some questions, you can share your questions over here. You can raise your hand or you can type on our chat box. Time is yours. Okay, no questions about these presentations or still thinking about the questions? Okay, no more questions at all. So, Mr. Rudy Sinulinga. Oh, Mr. Rudy Sinulinga is my hero. Thank you, Mr. David. Okay, yeah. There is so many hero over here. Mr. David. Okay. Madam Levy. That's so good. So, okay.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Okay.
Hey, my
Well, well.
friend, an honor. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, wonderful. So I think there is no question for Mr. Risunulinga.
That is the situation in our country, Mr. David. Yeah. They can learn English for 20 years, but they are not able to speak English well.
And you mentioned about the reading proficiency. Indonesia comes in at the bottom
Yes.
of the list. No, for Bahasa Indonesia, reading proficiency and English proficiency. So students are last even in their own language.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. David. So, Mr. David, so this is our country. We can listen, but we cannot speak. Okay. Just let us learn it. Okay. Okay. Uh, so I will conclude this presentation from Mr. Rudy. That the most important things to implement bilingual class are, the first one is we have to prepare the qualified teacher, and then know what are the goals of bilingual education for, or the bilingual system. And the last one, we can conclude that recognize that not all students have had the same background experience. So only that I can conclude from Mr. Rudy explanation or presentation. Such a wonderful presentations. It can be meaningful for us and useful for our teachers. And